2012 Part 4, The Hollow Earth and Its Core. So the more I go within myself for answers, learning the way of soul archaeology, the more I went within myself for answers, learning the way of soul archaeology, really exploring that old cliche saying, it is all within, and the body is a microcosm version of the planet. If I find paradise within, is it possible to find paradise within the planet as well? While I was thinking about this, in comes my dad saying, Jessica, I'm being told that the earth is hollow. It is the land of the giant people, not to be confused with the Anunaki or Planet X or Wormwood. There are UFOs there too, he said, and the people are very advanced. Did you know there is a blue sun for their inner light? It is like a crystal that is at the core. Kind of like the alchemy of coal. Hey, Jess. Okay, yeah, whatever, Dad. A few days later, I'm talking with this friend about my dad's latest weirdness talks. So guess what my dad told me this time? Man, he's really lost it. Oh my, it's a doozy. I told her everything, and she ended up telling her family at the dinner table. Well, while she was sharing it to her father, he stood up in a state of shock and asked, "Where did you hear that from?" It linked back to my dad, of course, and this man demanded that he call my dad. This was apparently huge for this man, as he rarely ever spoke since his return from his last job. He explained to my dad on the phone that he was working as a geologist up in the poles. He said the further north you go to the North Pole, the warmer it gets. It is the same with the South Pole. The further south you go, the warmer it gets till it becomes almost tropical. He was so shocked by this, even more so that just how heavily guarded the poles were by the military. There were really incredible discoveries made, like a mastodon was found nearby, a prehistoric elephant. For those of you who do not so funny. For those of you who do not know what a mastodon is, it's a prehistoric elephant. What was interesting about this is that it had died recently, and how they knew that was because the food in its stomach was fresh. Even more interesting, while I was writing this, I got a new copy of the National Geographic, and on the cover was the baby mastodon found in the North Pole. I read the whole article, curious what they would say, but of course they said absolutely nothing about the real truth behind the baby, or maybe it was not the same one. And we went too far. But still, why did this story from the Geologist get out? Why didn't the story from the Geologist get out? These were the kinds of things he was told to never speak about. I think they scared him with something fierce. For he practically gave up speaking altogether. I think he later really doubted himself and told himself he was crazy, and none of it was real. Which is a classic tactic that with the Illuminati in keeping their secrets. It has been done to so many of us that sooner or later we have to address this great fear festering in us. I was taken back that someone actually called my dad out of the blue and just spoke to him about such things. I think they healed and confirmed things to each other that day. I started to think maybe my dad was not crazy after all. Even Mom went looking for more information on this, and we came across Admiral Byrd's story, how he flew into the poles and went to this incredible world that was so beautiful that he had always wanted to go back. The Legend of Atlantis videos I was given that I have links to on my website and the forum, and on my YouTube channel favorite section that talks lots about Hitler and his obsession with the hollow earth. I wanted to share this with you guys in my Project Camelot interview, but I didn't have very much time to share the whole story without also, getting a chance to share my message as well. I must say, all of the radical things my dad spoke about, nothing was more fascinating to him than the hollow earth. So much so that he told Mom, "Did you know that when you think of a place before you die, you go there?" Same with when you're about to go to sleep. The last thing you think about that tends to influence the dream realm one finds themselves in. How many times have we been told our entire life about the kind of life we lead is where we will go? Then can one program the brain to experience a certain kind of afterlife, such as hell or heaven? Is it catered to what our idea or a visual of what these worlds will be like? Is this yet again another self-fulfilling prophecy? What if we wiped all ideas where we think we are going to just ask for home, back to the source or core of our being? Where would we end up? And what would it look like? If it is all a dream, where will we wake up in? To not be influenced by our thoughts as we make the transition. No thought. Perhaps another reason so many cultures are gung-ho about meditation, going past the mind. To go deeply into ourselves, to the core of our origin, what will we find? Nothing is born evil. Evil is made and nurtured to be what it is. Granted, this will show up, nurtured to be what it is when we are not truthful with ourselves and look outside rather than inside for answers. Granted, this will show up when we explore the layers of our being. To backtrack, we are bound to find some things we are not proud of, even a whole lot of ugly. Hence, time being non-linear and a loop, we will eventually face our ugly that we ran and hid from. The planet is a circle and loop, and so are you. So what will we do? Stop there and refuse to go further because it is showing us things we do not want to see, or would rather forget, bury in time, but forever be haunted? Here we are as humans, all going in circles, doing the same thing over and over. It's kind of like a karma loop. While we go in our cycles right by everyone else, we overlap one another. My, that sure looks like the flower of life, or even a spiral. The galaxies starting on the outer, going into the center, and vice versa, simultaneously. Now we know why at the end of Alice in Wonderland, when she was begging for herself to wake up, she was in the spiral with everyone she ever met in the Wonderland following her. Now we can understand why hypnosis uses the spiral to hypnotize you. You're getting sleepy. You're going into Wonderland. So what do we think it might be to be inside the core of our own soul or our heart? What does that look like? Is the core of the planet the soul or heart of the earth? Is the core of the planet the soul or heart of the earth? That does make sense. As we are coming to this understanding, the shift is reflecting out in the universe with the photon belt, which I always called God's aura. As a great central sun comes closer to us, does this not look like a micro of a macro to you? Keeping in mind that the human body is God's temple, so what does that make the center of the earth? Now we are starting to understand why it is so crucial to make peace within each of us. Iranian, Indian, Chinese, Scandinavian, and Aztec literature also refer to this ambiguous location at the center of the earth. Perhaps now we can understand that the hollow earth has to do with these shifty times, the golden era, and the new world of understanding. I can understand that the concept of the hollow earth is a tough one to grasp for many. I can understand that. It is for many at first, but let's just explore a few things here. We have heard of terms such as underworld from Greek mythology. There is Middle Earth, Tartarus, Davy Jones's locker, the Promised Land, the land of youth, the land of summer, the land under the waves, the land of the fairies, the kingdom of God is within. In most of the stories, it was viewed as a pleasant land located somewhere beneath the sea, but in others it was to be found beneath the hills or entered via ancient burial mounds. Plato says that the holy habitation of Zeus is situated in the center of the world. Apollo, the traditional interpreter of religious matters, delivers his interpretation from his seat of the earth's center, sacred land, Shambhala, Argartha, the northern paradise, inner kingdoms. It has also been called navel land, but I like to call it the womb land, and all those underground cavity pathways is like the umbilical cord that is a path leading from Mother Earth and symbolizing the path of man, emergence from the previous underworld.